All right, let's get into our weekly picks. Lucas, a winning week for you. Back on track, Mr. Lucas Rohde, never a doubt. Lucas had the under 32.5 in Army and Air Force. Boy, how about Army 23-3 over Air Force, ending Air Force's perfect season in dramatic fashion. Lucas gets the under with like 17 first quarter points from Army, so solid there. Lucas's other winner was NC State plus 4.5. The Wolfpack went outright by double digits over Miami. The loss was Notre Dame -3 at Clemson. The Irish fall to 7-3. Ryan had a 1-1-1 week. My win was Alabama -3 against LSU. I pushed Texas A&M +3 at Ole Miss. As that game was ending, A&M had a field goal to make it go to overtime, and I was listening to the game on the radio coming back from work. I was like, please miss this field goal so I can get this pick right, because if it goes overtime, who knows what can happen. So Ole Miss beats A&M by 3. I get a push there. And my loss was the under 41.5 in Illinois and Minnesota. The couple teams get in the mid-20s there in Minneapolis. The Gophers just collapse and lose to Illinois quarterback Dakota. Our buddy was going through. He was going through it.
As we all were on Saturday, because all of our teams kind of went to bed. So,
yeah, really, we haven't talked about Wisconsin or Arizona State. We'll probably keep that for another time. ASU losing by 50 and Wisconsin losing to Indiana. Not sure which is worse there. All right, for the season, I am 15-15-1, and Lucas is 11-20. Lucas, why don't you go first with your lock of the week?
So my lock of the week, I am going with the Georgia Bulldogs -11.5 against Ole Miss. Once again, I think this is just going to be another game. Like last week was close against Mizzou. I think this is a game that Georgia kind of flexes its muscles a little bit. And like I said, I just don't know if Ole Miss has that extra gear just to keep this game competitive against Georgia. It's in Athens once again. I also think that the defense for Ole Miss is not as good as Mizzou's. So can see Carson back and them kind of having their way. So give me Georgia -11.5 against Ole Miss.
I'm going to take the over 59.5 in Missouri, Tennessee. A little risky for me. Tennessee's defense, I think, is pretty good, but Missouri can score on almost anyone. They put up 21 on Georgia. They put up 39 on LSU. I like this Missouri offense. I think both teams get in the 30s here. The spread's like 1.5. I think Missouri's a slight favorite at home. But I think this is like a 34-31 kind of a game. So give me the over 59.5 in Tennessee, Missouri. My upset pick this week, Lucas, I'm sorry to do it. Give me Northwestern plus 11.5 against Wisconsin. Wisconsin coming off a loss to Indiana. A little bit like when I picked Northwestern plus, I think, 11 against Nebraska. Same reasoning. Two Big Ten West teams. Don't know if there's 10 points of separation. Dave Braun should be in conversation for Coach of the Year for getting Northwestern to 4 wins, potentially like 5 or 6 wins if they can win a couple games here down the stretch. So I saw this stat on Twitter from Tom Fornelli. When two Big Ten West teams play, the underdog is 10-3 against the spread. It is a division of chaos here. So give me Northwestern plus 11.5 in Madison against Wisconsin.
I don't hate that. If I was not a Wisconsin fan, I would probably bet that, just going off of Wisconsin's God-forsaken performance against Indiana. I could do a whole podcast on how bad that game was to watch, not just as a spectator, but as a fan. It was, God, just torture. That'll be my hell, is having to watch that game on repeat for the rest of my days. My upset pick, give me Duke plus 11.5 against North Carolina. I know they have not looked great. It's the injury with Riley Leonard. Even when he has played, that offense just has not been its same self. North Carolina to me still kind of scares me. This is a rivalry game. You know, Duke's going to want to do everything they can to try to knock North Carolina out of playoff, or not playoff contention, but out of the ACC title contention. And just North Carolina, who are we going to get? Are we going to get the team that kind of blew out Miami a few weeks ago, or are we going to get the team that lost consecutive games to Georgia Tech and Virginia? Just don't trust them by more than 10 points at home. So give me Duke plus 11.5.
All right, my pick of the week, I am taking Florida State minus 14.5 against Miami. I think Miami is on quit watch. I don't like Mario Cristobal in game. Florida State at home wants to send a statement. It's probably going to be a massive recruiting weekend for the Seminoles. Florida State, I think, has two more kind of trappy-ish games, and they're both against the rivals, Miami and Florida, in a couple weeks. Give me Florida State, minus 14.5 against Miami at home.
I like that one. My lock, I kind of hinted to it earlier. I'm taking the under in Rutgers and Iowa. It is at 28.5, which is a record. Last week, the record was 29.5 for Iowa Northwestern. And it hit pretty easily.
With room to spare, 10-7.
Rutgers defense is much better than Northwestern's, but Rutgers offense is not great. They only mustered 15 points or what it was against Ohio State. And Iowa's defense is just really, really good. This is going to be like another, I think, like 14-10, 17-10, maybe if we're getting crazy. But get me the under because I don't see either one of these two teams hitting 20 points.
I took the under in the wrong Big Ten West game last week. I mean, that under was like 0-0. At one point, the live under was like 18.5 in the second.
And that would have hit.
That would have hit. Man. It would have hit too. Honestly, would have hit. The under in Iowa games it's insane. It's a meme at this point, but it's 100% true.